Disable a trigger in a production environment. Description. In general, triggers are not editable once deployed to production org. However, in certain circumstances there might be a need to disable triggers in production. Resolution. A. Via Ant Migration Tool 1. Disable the trigger in sandbox environment. You should have a sandbox org which contains the same trigger. 2. Create a new folder using the sandbox and include the trigger, or refresh your existing folder. A. Alternative. Edit the trigger name. Trigger meta.xml in an existing project and change the status node to false. Inactive. B. Save the change locally. C. Deploy the trigger to production. 3. Complete the data load. 4. If the change is not permanent or you want to enable the trigger again, then enable the trigger by making it active on the sandbox or project again and deploy it to production. B. Via Change Sets 1. Disable the trigger in a sandbox environment. You should have a sandbox org which contains the same trigger. 2. Create a new outbound change set in the sandbox. 3. Add the disabled trigger to the change set. 4. Upload the change set to your production org. 5. In production, go to Inbound Change Sets and wait for the uploaded change set to be available. 6. Click Deploy to run the tests and apply the changes. C. Via Workbench 1. Retrieve the trigger metadata using Workbench. 2. Unzip the retrieved metadata folder. 3. In the trigger name, trigger meta.xml file, change the status from active to inactive. 4. Now zip the folder back and deploy it using Workbench. D. Via Salesforce CLI 1. Create a package.xml file to retrieve the metadata of the trigger. 2. Authorize the org where you want to deactivate the trigger using the command sfd xforce. Auth. Web. Login 3. Use the sfd xforce MD API retrieve command to retrieve metadata of the trigger using the package.xml file created earlier. 4. Once the metadata file is retrieved, unzip the file and in the trigger name, trigger meta.xml file, change the status from active to inactive. 5. Now run the sfd xforce MD API deploy command to deploy the changes to the target org. Note: consider the consequences of disabling a trigger in the production environment during work hours. It is highly recommended to perform this during off hours. Also, disable access to the application to non-administrators during the maintenance period. Thanks for watching Salesforcestart.